Yeah, Sammy, I'm still sitting here basking in the glow of that Bears victory. Still a lot to celebrate. Still a lot to talk about with the Bears. It's fun going into a bye week. This is very similar to last year, where the Bears had that huge game against Jacksonville in London. Then we were on the bye week, and then the unpleasantness happened. I really do believe, and I was talking to people about this recently. Is this game against the Raiders was very similar in scope to the game against the Commanders last year, where remember, everything looked great. We looked great against Jacksonville. The offense is there. Shane Waldron's a genius. We got this dialed in. We're going to go into the bye week. We're going to come out swinging. And then they go to Washington and they struggle. But Caleb, not once, but twice, puts them into a position to win. And, had Tyreek Stevenson not done what he did, the Bears would have won that game. And who knows, the butterfly effect of what happened after that. Matt Eberflus might still be the coach of this team. So, again, it's one of those things where you have to sit there and watch every year and you're like, yeah, it sucks, but ended up being the best thing for this team. The Bears were in a very similar situation where it's like Caleb, again, got us into a position to win this game. The Raiders could have easily won it on that field goal, although Caleb would have had time to go out there and try to have some magic, try to do some things, but still a very similar thing. It could have had a very similar outcome to be like, we were so close but lost. The Bears won. And I don't think that should be considered insignificant. I think it's a really big thing that the Bears were able to win that game. And again, people still come at me, tell me when you beat a good team. But listen, last year we were not beating good teams. We were not even beating the bad teams. We're beating teams. We're scoring on opening drives. Not the last couple of weeks, but we're scoring on opening drives. We're building. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and I can't wait to talk about it. So, Sammy, go ahead and start the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Adam Rank.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown. And no flag, 92 yards.
The sickest Chicago Bears and fantasy football podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
It's Wednesday night. You know what that means? It is time for Take It to the Rank. A great night of sports talk and all sorts of Bears thing. I gotta get back together with the challenge. Got to figure out what's going on with the challenge. I fell off because I was watching Big Brother. But we also have the Tape Never Lies Network coming on this evening, about an hour and a half from now. And, of course, AEW Dynamite. So much good stuff happening on a Wednesday night. Now, I will say, to my knowledge, it doesn't look like we have Greg Braggs. We sent stuff to Greg Braggs. We said, hey, Braggs, we'd love to have you. But I do know he was playing Bally High on the Las Vegas Strip. I know that the Cubs played earlier today. There's a good chance we don't get Greg Braggs. And if we do get Greg Braggs, I don't know what kind of conditions he's going to be in to be talking about the Chicago Bears. So since I didn't have to do the CHGO thing on Monday night, I guess we're off the hook here. So in any event, it'll just be me. And I hope you have a good time and I hope you enjoy. We do have some fun stuff to talk about. I do want to get into what happened with Ben Johnson. Obviously, he was a lightning rod of controversy on Sunday, but not the way that you would figure. It wasn't about the play calling or anything like that. It was about a second half conversation he had with my friend, Aditi Kingablala, which funny enough, tonight is when I go to Chapman University and I teach my sports broadcasting class. And this is going to be something we're going to discuss. I want to get the take of the students. I'm interested to see how they feel about everything that happened on Sunday. And for a lot of you, I know a lot of you were at the game or you're watching it. Maybe you didn't hear the exchange or anything like that. We do have it queued up for you. So, Sammy, if we could, can we listen to Ben's interview with Aditi heading into the second half?
It's a struggle to take advantage of those takeaways.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you tell them to get things going?
That it wasn't our brand of football. We're capable of a lot more, and so we're hitting the reset button here at halftime, and we're going to come back and establish our identity here in the second half.
So you need to change what you're doing.
I don't know. You think so? We're going to be just fine.
Thank you.
All right, Ben Johnson, all business.
And yeah, so understandably, Ben Johnson got a little bit of grief for that. People thought that he was not being respectful to Aditi. That it turned the tenor did change, and you could see her reaction, like, oh geez, almost getting scolded. Now I have heard some people coming out here, like John Gruden was one of them, who was like, I would have taken that thing from her. I would have done this. Shut up, John Gruden. Like, nobody cares. Whatever. But, Ben Johnson had a moment to reflect on it, to look back on it, and to really think about what had transpired in the moment. He did address this with the media earlier this week. So, Sammy, if we can play that.
In the moment, I honestly, I didn't think too much of it. I'm kind of in game mode. But then when I look back at it, I am a little bit disappointed with what that looks like. I didn't hear very well, and that's not an excuse. But when I thought I heard that not a question, but that I needed to make some changes, I didn't take that very well. So I'll do a better job with those going forward.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one, and I know Victor's got some thoughts right here. Where Ben was reacting the way that he should have. I get it. I agree. Like, I think that Ben was okay in that moment. Like, you really do put these reporters in a kind of a weird situation where you have to talk to a coach in this moment. Now, there was controversy a couple of years ago where one of the sideline reporters was exposed for like not talking to the coach and trying to explain to people. So Aditi's got a job to do. And I think for Bears fans, we want to know, like, what are we going to do? Like, we left too many points on the board. We didn't take advantage of some opportunities. Her question did come off like a statement, like, hey, you got to do better. And Ben didn't take it well. But at the same time, Ben could have done a better job. Explaining that. But I also, like, listen, I know I talk about coaching youth sports way too much. But there is something about when you're in the heat of the battle. Like, I was popping off earlier this week because some coach from some opposing team, I know the kind of person he is, and I know that he sent this girl who is as tall as I am to go run over my goalie, and I shouted across the field. I told them to knock it off. So I know that there are some times where you can be a little bit heated up. And I know that there's no excuse for being short, but at the same time, the one thing, and I do like that Ben kind of acknowledged it and took ownership of it, but Ben, at the same time, like, these are one of the things where, I don't know, you gotta, it's a very tough situation. I thought Aditi, I don't think she did anything wrong. I think she could have phrased it a little bit better, perhaps. Put the question mark at the end, because it does come off like a statement, like a question. So you got to do better. I don't know. Like, I don't know how you would do that. But again, and I saw that because Pat McAfee said he didn't need to. So Corn-Fed said he was just fired up. I mean, there is something about that. But God, Pat McAfee said he had nothing to apologize for. I understand. Pat McAfee described it a little bit better. We had nothing to do with it. Corn-Fed saying he was just fired up. He was fired up. This is, though, kind of what we want out of our coach. Like, we want, like, I don't know. Aditi should be treated with respect. She's doing a job, and I get that. And I love Aditi. I respect her. Her son and my daughter were born about 2 weeks apart. So she's a friend of mine, and I understand what she's doing her job. I do like that Ben cares. Like, I know this is the worst. I know it's excusing possibly bad behavior or something like that. And I don't mean to, but I do love that somebody cares so much and somebody's fired up and somebody's in the moment. I've been in situations like that where a coach has admonished me. Wasn't during the middle of a game, and I would hate to be asked during the middle of the game, but there are times like you go up and you ask a coach and you don't, it comes off. Like, I've asked a winning coach one time. It was at Tesoro High School, a question, and he kind of snapped at me, and he was like, yeah, I don't need to be here. I'm making $50 a game for the Orange County Register. I don't need to be here, but okay, you do you. But at the same time, I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I do like that Ben is so engaged and he's such a red ass. And this is exactly what we're going to get. Like, we're going to get a little fired up, chippy. And again, this isn't the first time a coach had been, has been this way. I don't think that it was, I don't think that he really, I really would love to get her take on it. Maybe I should have just called her up, see what she said. Bunk God's got a great response here. It's a hard spot for both of them. Oh, hold on. Let me get this a little bit better. Bunk, let me see this again. It's a hard spot for both of them. They need to remove the mid-game interviews. You know what? Bunk God has actually got the best point. Like this is like, you know what? Bunk Point, I think, just summed it up perfectly. Bunk God, excuse me. Sums it up perfectly, because do we really need to hear from the coach in that moment? Like, I can live without it. I think for a lot of us, I don't know how it is where you go out and you watch games, but like, we play music during commercials. We play music during halftime because the Bears game where we're at is it's got the sound on. So it's the sound on the game. And when they go to commercials, when they go to halftime, we're playing music, we're bumping music, we're getting together a vibe. So we did actually hear that, because I was telling the guy who was controlling the mic, who was controlling the music, like, Ben Johnson's on the TV, show it. So they went out and they did that. And I agree with Bunk God. Like, if we want to avoid situations like this, because what is it really there for? Although at the same time, like, I don't want Aditi to lose her job. I like that, but they report on injuries and stuff, and they find there's a lot of useful things that they do. Like, Aditi does a great job in the entirety of the broadcast, because she's down on the field before the game. She'll be able to, like, then there's less going on, and you could be like, hey, I was talking to these coaches, I was talking to the players, I noticed this, I noticed that. There's a lot of things that are going on where Aditi is very useful, but the pregame stuff or the halftime thing, that could go. I think Bunk God's right. So those of you who missed it, by the way, speaking of watching the games, where do you watch games? Because if you're in Chicago, you've got no game to watch this week, but might I suggest going to Twisted Shamrock? It's a place for all Chicago sports fans, whether you're a fan of the Bears, Bulls, Hawks, Cubs, White Sox, you're not playing anymore, but whatever. The Bulls, the other day, Sunday, the Bears, the Cubs, and the Blackhawks all won. And the place to be is Twisted Shamrock. They've got monster TVs in the private party room, above the main bar, and outside on their stellar patio. Swing by Twisted Shamrock, where Chicago sports come together and try the best old-fashioned in the entirety of the Midwest. That's Twisted Shamrock. It's right there by Midway Airport. And again, when I fly into town this season, my first stop will be Twisted Shamrock. We'll have a great time. We'll watch some of the Saturday. So if you're going to go watch college football this weekend, if the Bears, because the Bears aren't playing, you just want to sit there and watch some games and scan your fantasy team, go to the Twisted Shamrock. All right. Don Burr. Oh, so Don Burr. Hey, Adam, you told me to show up after Baltimore whips on Detroit. I'm here. Hey, Don, you know what? Credit where credit is due. The Detroit Lions have been playing very well. Make no excuses for the Baltimore Ravens or anything like that. The one thing that I will admire about the Detroit Lions is that they have not had a noticeable drop-off after that huge victory against the Chicago Bears a couple of weeks ago. Kind of thought like, hey, obviously they're getting up to play Ben Johnson. Let's see how they do after that. After that, they've done just as well. They look like the best team in the NFL. I don't know, man. They look better. The Eagles are the Eagles. The Rams are playing pretty well. But the Lions, they look pretty good, Don. I'll give you credit. Listen, no, he's fine. Listen, leave Don Burr alone. The Lions are playing very well. We enjoy the fact, as long as he's civil, he's welcome here to hang out and enjoy the great quality Bears talk. And as a matter of fact, I've been starting a couple of Lions on my fantasy team. And speaking of fantasy leagues, too many times you win a fantasy football championship and all you get is a cheap plastic trophy or a little meager GG in the group chat there. You know what? That ain't it. We're talking about Crown Champs, baby. And Crown Champs just dropped the hottest thing fantasy's ever seen, a real handcrafted premium championship crown. It's just $2.99 a month per person. Rack up points, win weekly challenges, get voted as King, Queen, Trash Talker, and unlock real-life merch. Go to crownchampscompany.com. That's crownchampscompany.com. Don't just win your fantasy league. Go out and rule it with Crowned Champs. Those crowns are pretty dope. I will tell you, I don't lie to you. I do love the Crown Champs, and I do love. I like getting merch. I don't get to play for money because I'm an NFL employee still, at least for a couple more weeks. In any event, it is the bye week, and Caleb Williams was able to meet with the reporters the other day. They did practice on Tuesday. I know our friend Nick Rohde talked about this on our show on Tuesday, that the Bears were not taking any time off. They were not going to be. They didn't get to go to the Cubs game on Tuesday. I don't know if they were there today because they're now off. But Caleb Williams met with reporters, talked about what he's going to be doing during the bye week. So, Sammy, can we go ahead and roll that sound?
Work on my body, make sure that's ready for this stretch of games that we have, 13 after this. So just being able to prepare, take a day off or so, and let my mind rest a little bit. And then just because it's a bye week doesn't mean it's an off week. So it's just being able to come in here and make sure my body's right, make sure my mind's right, for those days coming up.
Yeah, you know what? Going out there, getting a little rest, a little relaxation after a tough little stretch to start the game. B-Shep 23 says that Caleb will win Player of the Week in Week 5, which is going to be very difficult considering we're not playing. He's not going to win. I hope you mean Week 6. I do think that we're going to turn our attention to the Washington Commanders here in a couple of days. Looking at that, Jaden Daniels was cleared to practice on Wednesday. Anticipated that he's going to be playing against the Chargers this week here in Los Angeles up at SoFi Stadium, which is exactly where you want to be. If you have a bad knee, you want to be running around the turf at SoFi Stadium. Perfect, guys. Although you're like, Austin Eckler didn't get hurt until he started playing for the Commanders. So, okay, I guess anybody can get hurt at any time. But I do like that Caleb Williams is going to take a little bit of time to get ready, get his body right. He was being harangued by Max Crosby. Now, during the post-game press conference, they talked about the impact that Max Crosby had on the game. Caleb Williams said that Max Crosby was perhaps the greatest player he had ever played against, which is heady praise. But Max Crosby is one of the elite players in this league, so that's no surprise. But we did see Max Crosby talking about Caleb Williams on his podcast, which I believe is part of the Let's Go network with Tom Brady and Jim Gray and everybody. Sammy, do we have that sound?
Best player that I've ever played against so far in my career.
Hearing that from a really good player is cool. Our matchup was all day. You know what I mean? All day we were going back and forth, and he's competitive, bro. I'll give it to him. Like he didn't back down. He kept getting back up and kept trying to make plays. And he definitely earned my respect. He's a competitor, and he is hard to tackle. You know what I mean? He makes plays happen.
Yeah, that's some good praise from Max Crosby, talking about how he's hard to tackle. There were a number of moments in that game where the escapability of Caleb Williams was really on full display, going out there, getting chased. And credit to the Bears, too, for finding a way to neutralize Max Crosby, because obviously anybody who was watching the early part of that game was remarking about how great Max Crosby was playing. He was going out there, sliding. He was forcing the issue. He batted up and created his own interception, the first of his career. There were times that he was knocking the ball down, and it was very tough to watch as a fan or a supporter of the Chicago Bears. You're like, do we have any answer for Max Crosby? But they kind of not that you completely take away Max Crosby, and you are, donating a lot of resources towards stopping him. But I felt like the Bears did a really good job. And one of the things that we're going to see when we come back from the bye week is some of the changes that we saw on Sunday, where it looks like Braxton Jones is not going to be starting at left tackle for the Chicago Bears. There's going to be a lot of questions, and I'll be honest with you, we don't 100% have the answer of who is going to be where. I think that people are making some assumptions. I don't know if they've officially announced who is going to be where or do anything like that. But there are going to be some changes on the offensive line. Obviously, if Darnell Wright returns, Theo played okay. Theo Benedict, I thought, played okay. Ozzie Trapillo showed some signs as well. And I think one of the cool things is that they didn't leave them, especially when Ozzie got into the game, they didn't really leave him unprotected. They were sliding coverages. They were sliding some help, which is fine to do. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I do think that I think we got some players, though. Like, that's the one thing that's the biggest issue. Obviously, this Bears team was going out there and putting them into a position to succeed. I think that too many times it's unrealistic that you just, you sub in a player and you think that he's going to be great. And I always call this the maddenization of football, where, hey, this guy's rated as 79. I'm putting him at right tackle. There's going to be no problems. I wish Madden was a little bit more realistic, where if you subbed in a right tackle on Madden, it would take him a few minutes to kind of get things together, where it would be like, oh, this right tackle's not playing well. He's getting blown up, until we start to fix our coverages. So I was really impressed. I'm really encouraged by what the Bears were able to do on the offensive line, where they went out there and again, they were under duress the early part of the game. Like one of the reasons why they were not able to take advantage of everything that was going on in the field, why they weren't able to convert as you would have liked them to. That is something that, caused them to struggle a little bit, as the Raiders were playing so well in that moment. Motor Music Michael, what do you think, Rank, on what the starting O-line will be against the Commanders? This is a great question right here. The one that just came in at 724 there. To those of you on the East Coast, what do I think the offensive line is going to look like? There's a lot of possibilities, because Darnell Wright, we're trying to read the tea leaves here, because obviously Theo Benedict was a left tackle when he was playing up in British Columbia. So you could just make that small adjustment and have Theo Benedict in there at left tackle, and it's just a straight swap for Braxton Jones. Or perhaps Darnell Wright moves to the left side. They put Ozzie Trapillo at the right. This is going to be something that Ben Johnson is going to be thinking about over the next couple of days, as the players go out there and they're on their leaves and they're going out and they're celebrating. Or they're not celebrating, but they're relaxing. They're convalescing and all that stuff. Ben Johnson, is a maniac. Ben Johnson is working to this problem right now, trying to figure out who is going to play where, what is going to weigh what. My sincerest conjecture is they're gonna put Theo Benedict at left tackle. They'll probably keep Darnell at right, with Ozzie as the backup in case, Darnell is not completely 100% ready to go, and Ozzie needs to play in a pinch. You got that situation sort of sorted. That is my conjecture. I really don't have I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's a working theory of mine. I will allow the coaches to do that. I know that we all have our own opinions. We always think like this guy is better than this guy or whatever it is. The coaches know. The coaches know where to put people. So I'm really excited for what Ben Johnson is going to come up, what he's going to design, who he's going to come up with. One of the things that we can, you can edit their Madden ratings, son. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, you can edit their awareness ratings on Madden. That is a great point. One of the things too that I'm really curious about the Bears, and everybody is asking, there was a question here asking if DeAndre Swift is going to be a member of the Chicago Bears in 2026. Is he going to be a member of the Bears in 2 weeks? Might be a bigger question. Where was that? Craig Lockhart. Swift going to be a Bear next season. I'm not worried about next season. I think next season will play itself out. Next season will be next season. I think right now we got to focus in on the here and now. And I think that DeAndre Swift has been pretty decent. I don't know if it was on this show, if it was on one of the other shows that I've done. DeAndre Swift still on pace for 1,000 rushing yards, still on pace for double-digit touchdowns. I don't think that DeAndre Swift has been a problem. I just feel like the role that we're using DeAndre Swift for is not necessarily the best role for him. What I would like to see, and again, this is just me, on the sidelines, just sitting around, spitballing here, I would love to see Kyle Monangai get an opportunity to be the starting running back, to be one of those early down backs, is kind of the hammer. Like, lay the hammer into these guys. When you watch Kyle Monangai run, like, he is looking to punish people first, gain yards second, which is admirable. I wish I would like don't try to run directly into the guys. It reminds me of something. It reminds me of one of those things where it reminds me of a story Pat Tillman told me one time, because I asked him back in the day, first time I interviewed him, I think. This is, hey, Steve Hendrickson once described special teams as like running into your garage door naked. And Pat was like, I wouldn't be that dramatic. He's like, because I'm not necessarily trying to run into people. I'd rather not run into people and make a tackle. So I would prefer a running back like not necessarily want to make contact, but at the same time, not shy away from it. I think Kyle Monungai has the mindset of an early down back. And DeAndre Swift does very well in space, getting outside, catching the football, doing all those sorts of things that perhaps he's not an every down back. And again, you can look at what the Detroit Lions are doing with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs and be like, yeah, why don't we run it that way? Like, why don't we run Kyle Monungai as the David Montgomery and bring in DeAndre Swift as the Jahmyr Gibbs? And I'm talking about last season. We've seen Jahmyr Gibbs sort of take over that backfield now. So I would love to see them use them in that kind of situation a little bit more. I think that it would be the best way to go about it. That's my conjecture. I still think that he's going to I think he's still going to see a lot of work, DeAndre Swift. Motor Music Michael is asking about Ozzie Trapillo. Can he play swing, or are we out on him playing left and all? Yeah, you know what? A lot of the comments that I hear from the coaching staff and from players, or not the coaching staff, but from the coaching staff and people inside the organization, they feel like Ozzie Trapillo is really a right tackle. And some have speculated that Ozzie was going to play right tackle all along, although he's played left before. I think they tried him at the left. It would have been the easiest fix this season if he walked into training camp and you're like, oh, this guy's great at left tackle. Let's just leave him there. I think as we go further along, we're starting to see that he's more of a right tackle than anything else, which means that Darnell Wright would have to at some point move to the left tackle spot, something they were reticent to do because they love Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones is one of those players who's been starting for us for a couple of years. And I know that Ryan Poles was taking a lot of pride at drafting a left tackle from Southern Utah and having him start and be like, look at how great I am at finding all these players. But it hasn't been working out. And they need to figure it out soon because you can't have Caleb under duress. Not that a lot of it was Braxton's fault, but it's still, you're going to be playing a lot of great players in this league. So the offensive line, this is a perfect time to kind of fiddle with it, kind of get some continuity to go. And that's one of the big things that we were talking about coming into this season was that we wanted this team to have continuity on the offensive line because we didn't want to be in this spot where we were playing musical chairs and we were going to go out there and play like 17 combinations over the course of a season. You didn't want to see any of that. So we hope that they're going to go out there and keep it consistent. Now, before we get out of here, I want to let everybody know that big thanks to our friends at Huel Protein Powder. Listen, Wednesday is a huge day for me. I did NFL Fantasy Live. I did the after hour with Jim Rome. And of course, I'm doing Take It to the Rank this evening. I am on my way to go teach my sports broadcasting class at Chapman University. And to do so, I rely on Huel. One bottle like this, 400 calories, 35 grams of protein. Listen, I don't want to sit there. I don't want to stop at Del Taco and hate my life because I ate 3 Del Beef burritos. Instead, I'll just down one of these. I'll be set for the rest of the night. I'll have a coffee. I will be completely sorted. Now, if you go to Huel.com/sickbears, use the promo code sickbears, you'll get 15% off your first order. Look, I am somebody who for years would go to GNC, would go to Costco, would buy protein. I consider myself a protein powder connoisseur. Huel is the best that I've ever had. I would implore you to go try it out. Don't go, Captain Winks. Please don't go to Costco. Go buy some Huel. Just looking over the comments here. There is, I think the biggest question, there is something I know. I feel bad about Braxton Jones. Like this is a conversation. Whenever we talk about benching somebody, like I feel really bad. Like I said before the start of the season that I thought that Braxton Jones was going to be the starter to open the year. He was, but he just hasn't been able to, it's just not there. I mean, as much as we would want it to be there, there comes a time where you were doing things where you want something to happen, but then at the same time, you have to be realistic. Realistically, it is not there for Braxton Jones. And it's just, they got to make a change. And it looks like it's going to be one of those combinations of guys, whether it is going to be whether they go with Ozzie Trapillo and kick Darnell or whatever. A change is coming to the offensive line. Hopefully it's good. I'm excited about this. I don't know how closely you all will be watching this Sunday at SoFi Stadium. I've actually contemplated going to the game. Well, I was contemplating it, but I do have a game. My boys team has a game on Sunday morning, which is going to prevent me from going to that. I might actually go to the Cal State Fullerton women's soccer game after that at 2:00. It is Kids Go Free Day. If you're in the Orange County area and you have a soccer player in your family, Cal State Fullerton is having you can go to the game for free if you bring your kids, and it's like $5 to get in. It's cheap. I'm really interested to see how the Commanders play, because this is one of the things that, how healthy is Jaden Daniels going to be? It was a concern coming into the draft process, is his style of play. They had said, hey, it might not jive with the NFL. He can't go out there like a crash test dummy all the time, because eventually it's going to catch up to him. He's already missed 2 games this season. He's going up against the Chargers, who are banged up themselves, but still, that is something that's going to be watched. I'm curious too, because we've also seen a lot of people starting to really pump up Drake May. Like, is there just something about the sports media in general that they will go with anybody? They will pump up anybody as long as it's not Caleb Williams. Excuse me. Because a lot of because like now, and I saw this on Rich Eisen's show, and I've seen a lot of people tweeting out this stuff like, God, is Drake May the best quarterback? You're like, oh, is it going to be one of these things that we have to work through the entirety of these guys' careers, where everybody's going to do whatever they can to make sure that they do not admit that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback from this quarterback class? Like, they're going after everybody. Like after week one, it was JJ McCarthy, and then it was Jaden Daniels, and now they've already switched. They didn't acknowledge Bo Nix. I think they're saving Bo Nix. They're not like, we don't want to play that card yet. Now they're on to the Drake May. Drake May, way better. And Drake May, Drake May was fantastic last week against the Carolina Panthers. The funny thing is that when Caleb Williams goes out there and beats the Dallas Cowboys or somebody like that everybody's just got to be, hey, show me when it's not the Cowboys. Okay, that's fine, but like, their guy just beat Carolina, and everybody acted like he was beating the 85 Bears. Like, what is the stipulation? What is the why can't we just give people credit? That's my biggest thing. Like, nobody wants to give anybody credit. Nobody wants to put nobody's going to talk about Caleb. Like, I don't know what he would have to do. He's 2-2. The statistics: 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It should have been 1. I was really gutted when he threw that one Max Crosby cut. The numbers are there. He's moving the ball. He's been a great leader. He rallied them to a victory. I don't know. I agree with you. This last comment here. I'm Wim Food. What do you mean food? We got our guy, and it feels good. That's I guess the best part about this is that we do have our guy. Like, regardless of what everybody thinks. And you know what? It's one of those things that I need to now kind of move off from. I need to stop being so offended, taking it so personal whenever because people are going for engagement, they're going for clicks, and they're going to be like, hey, Drake May is the best quarterback of this class. Bo Nix. It's JJ McCarthy. The Bears made a mistake not drafting JJ McCarthy. That doesn't matter. I'm confident in Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is going to be absolutely fantastic. Love what we've seen out of him. I'm excited for him to get back onto the field against the Commanders on Monday night. Normally, I would be worried. I'd be scared. I'd be like, I don't want anything. But I'm confident now. I'm confident that Caleb's going to come out there and play really well a week from Monday and show the world that the Bears got the best quarterback. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. What I am going to do is thank everybody for being here. We really do. Appreciate you. I'm trying to think. This guy's trying to explain what his name is. We got our guy. Warm food. I'm warm food. Got it. Warm food. I got you now. We're on board. But in any event, thanks everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. We'll be back later with some more great Bears content. Thank you everybody for being here. So until that time, bear down, and Sammy, go ahead and play us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Adam Rank on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.